disease, but treatment.
All right, should be live for Fireside Chat number. Let's check. I think we're looking at 97. Yes, last week's forgot to upload. I will do that after this one. Fireside Chat number 97, rapidly approaching 100. As far as WA, not the most interesting of weeks within the clan. I know myself, as far as stuff I'm working on, it's generally been a. I did finish the codex, so that was one thing I posted announcements. Well, I say finish the codex, but I got an entry in for every active member of WA currently. Obviously, we're bringing in new recruits and stuff. I'm going to have to keep making entries and stuff like that, so I once again ask anyone in the Historians Guild, give me a hand with that. That would be a huge help. Or even not in the Historians Guild, but if you are going to help write codex entries, I'd certainly love to have you join the guild. So, yeah. That said, one of the main things that needs to happen is updating the current entries that we already have. Some people getting promoted, people have left or gone inactive or come back, stuff like that. Need to keep updating stuff, and it's a never-ending journey, basically. So it's exciting to reach that point, but there's obviously still a lot of work to do, and there always will be. But the nice thing is that we will start accumulating this historical record by having an entry for every single member in the history of WA, in theory, if we reach that point. But the closer we get to that point, even if we have outdated entries, the nice thing is that things like recruitment dates and who recruited you are not going to change, So you've got those entries that are continuing to develop, and another thing that we're working on is the wiki as well. I think work has slowed on that lately, but I'm not too worried. It's something, if I'm not focusing on it myself, since I, am sort of the head of lore in many ways, I think it's something that I'd like to work on more myself, and in doing so kind of reinvigorate the people who already put a ton of work into it, which once again, thanks guys for everyone doing so much work on the wiki. As we move forward with the wiki and the codex, as I've kind of talked about previously, the plan is for the codex to really be a short-form encyclopedia, to the point that even somebody could look at the codex if they forgot their recruitment date, for example, or they're just kind of curious about basic info about members, browsing members of the past, that kind of thing. Whereas the wiki is where we're going to have like biographies for members. You want to read about Saint Dippity Dog, read about that the whole time. He was in the clan, and the whole biography, everything like that would be on the wiki. He'd have his own wiki page, that kind of deal. So that's the goal that we're working towards. It's a pretty lofty one. Take some time, but it's nice to have little, smaller goals along the way, little benchmarks, like getting an entry for every active member in the clan is really cool. And yeah, hopefully, like I said, I'd love to get any help I can. I'm the owner and administrator of the server and the bot, so I'm the only one that it will let actually upload entries to the bot. But if anybody writes entries for me, it makes it quite a bit faster. Because most of the time I spend is researching information for the entries and then writing them. So if you write your own entry, even something as simple as just going through the entries and finding outdated ones and just letting me know which ones are outdated, or letting me know yours is outdated, is a huge help. So anything like that, yeah, that'd be amazing. That said, the main thing I'm working on, aside from codex entries in the off time, is the Yule song. I hit a bit of a hiccup today in that I found that the guitar amp plugin I'm using suddenly has decided to start crashing Logic, the DAW digital audio workstation that I use, when I try to export a file. So if I want to just you've got the project file, right, that you're working on, you're editing, you're recording stuff in. You export that to, say, an MP3, just a regular song file or something like that, and doing that crashes it when I engage the amp plugin that I'm using, which is like a virtual amp that it generates. So I've had to switch to an older one that I used to use that I'm not as big of a fan of, but worst case scenario, still record it with that, and no problem. And the nice thing too is that so one nice thing is that what you do is you record the raw input signal from, electric guitar, bass guitar, anything like that, and then what the computer does is it processes that and in through things like a virtual amp and any effects and EQ, compression, anything you want to put on there, it's all applied after the fact. So if I want to say switch which kind of amp simulator I'm using, I can simply go back, like let's say a year from now I figure out this stupid bug and how to fix it. I can go back and just change the amp to the one I like better, export the song, whole thing is fixed. Probably took 5 minutes. I don't have to re-record the whole thing, so it's not the end of the world. I don't want to like delay the song for something like that, so I'm just going. I mean, if I can't get it to work, then I'll just use this this older amp simulator that I'm currently using that does work. So yeah, and I think it sounds okay. I mean, I spent a lot of time finding good sounds on it. So yeah, I'm gonna work with that for now, unless I figure out some solution to using the newer amp that I got without everything crashing. So that's something I continue to work on. Progress. I'm working on the drums at the same time as I'm recording the actual guitar takes. I recorded demo guitar tracks for every guitar part and bass guitar for the entire song. It's about 6 minutes 50 seconds. It's a bit long, but I think it's all right. I recorded all those demo tracks. So right now what I'm doing is I'm going through and re-recording them all. Real tracks, basically. So some of the demo ones I might actually leave in because they're perfectly good takes. But for the most part, what I'm doing now is using different guitars, like some of the demos I recorded on a older Ibanez Custom from 1977, and doesn't sound quite like I wanted it to. I was just kind of doing it for fun, I suppose, trying it out. So I want to re-record it with a new guitar I just got out from the shop that I really like. And yeah, so that's kind of one thing I'm doing is just re-recording all those with the right, right instrument, doing better takes, more serious, making sure that it's really, really solid. And I'm going through re-recording all those parts. The bass is done. I didn't record demo bass tracks. I just recorded actual takes, so the bass is done. And then, yeah, like I said, I'm going through now and re-recording all the guitar parts, but it's much easier having them already written and played in a demo format because I'm basically just, mimicking what I just did, but just doing it better. And I'm also working on the drums, probably about 25% done with the drums. Gets easier the further you go with the drums, at least the way that I do it, where I program them, because let's say I program all the drums for the verse of the song, and then, well, there's multiple verses, so I can just plug that in again. So it makes it easy. I mean, you usually want to avoid too much monotony. You want to add some flourishes and differences, but it still does speed things up. So again, I don't want to give too much of an ETA, but certainly I'm excited with the progress we're making, and I like the way the song sounds, so hopefully people will like the end result. And if you don't, I have a couple other songs that initially were going to be the Yule song that I kind of abandoned, that I might go back and make into additional songs in the future, especially if people like the idea of a song being the reward for an event rather than a mark, for example, or maybe both in the future. So that's something I'm planning on working on in the future, is doing more of those. So if you don't like this one, there may be more, maybe a different one will be more something you like. Yeah, so that's the plan there. And yeah, that's the main thing I've been working on. Let me double check here. I think we've had more discussions about the idea of organizing by houses, which is still an idea I'm excited about, but at the same time, there are still a lot of movement that it's looking like it's going to happen in the future between warbands and stuff like that. So again, I don't want to be changing the system too early, and certainly not when there's still going to be a lot of action happening. You want to kind of let things be stable and see how things go, have a good kind of few months of stability at least to get a good idea. To some degree, we have the same system we've had since March 2018, so actually I think we just passed the anniversary a couple days ago. So to some degree, I think that we've already got a good sample size, but at the same time, since November, we've really kind of cracked down on rules, changed some things, on the other hand, we kind of just have those 4 months of really an idea of how things work right now. So yeah, I want to things keep working. I don't think there's something going on right now where it's such a disaster that we need to, make some kind of emergency change or something like that. I think everything's working fine. The discussion of the house system is just to make a system that might work better, or that would at least be maybe more intriguing to myself and other officers. I know I'm pretty excited about the idea of a house system combined with something like fleet ranks, something like that, and just using the houses as the vessels for those ranks, essentially. So I'm excited about that idea, and that's something we've been talking about a lot. So yeah, I mean, more work needs to go into planning it, and as well, kind of figuring out a lot of specifics, like questions like how do Earls work? Does the Earl become a chain of command rank with actual power, and then they're leading their family as a unit, and then you have to promote a new Earl? Do they have an heir? These kind of very specific things that we need to brainstorm and continue working on. But that said, I'm excited about the work that's going on, or the discussions at least about it so far. And yeah, I'm gonna keep working on the song. And I think I had said last time that there's a possibility of me playing a demo track tonight. Sadly, it is not gonna happen. But I am certainly thinking about the possibility. If you really would like to hear it, let me know, and then maybe I will consider doing that. But to some degree, I want to present the best product possible. I don't want to just like upload something that doesn't sound that good, and then have people's opinion of the song, just kind of be bad, or maybe based on that, I suppose. But if people really want to hear it, I don't want to, I mean, I know it's already extremely late, so I don't want to make people wait more if they really would like to hear some kind of work in progress version, something like that too. But yeah, I think that is about everything I've got right now. Double checking here. Another thing is I am looking at Vafthrudnir's Acolytes potentially closing. At the very least, I'm kind of curious people's opinions on how it's been working so far. It's only been around a couple of months here, but at the same time, I'm not certain it's really doing too much positively for the clan right now. I think it's sort of, to some degree, people being cut off from the new recruits. I mean, anybody can gain access to the channel, right? But I think to some degree people want to have those new recruits directly in their war band to begin with, so that they could be playing with them and draw them further into the clan immediately, rather than having to go through this filter of Vafthrudnirs. And as well, I feel like I haven't been able to do my job as leader of Vafthrudnirs and introducing new recruits actively enough or well enough either, so that's hurting things too. So I'm uncertain on the future of Vafthrudnirs, to put it simply here, and I'm looking for people's opinions on how it's working so far, to kind of evaluate what to do about it. But yeah, I believe that is it. So this is Fireside Chat number 97. I'm going to sign off here and have Court of the High King in just probably maybe 15 minutes, something like that. The plan is, 6:30, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, I think we'll see everybody then. In the meantime, thanks everyone watching live or watching the VOD. We will, if you missed Court of the High King, we'll be back for Fireside Chat next week at the normal time, 5 p.m. Pacific.